Hi, good morning. Eddie G's Music World is live. The applause is deafening. Well, look, I'm happy to be here. We just had an election. Same government's going to be there as they were before. I'm back with the one hit wonders. There's a lot of good songs on this list. You know, it's really shocks me how these bands only had one hit. So many of them were huge. Why didn't they get more? I'm not going to start playing the music this show because I'm finding the quality of the playback is kind of shabby. It's hard to get clear sound. These are songs that all people who ever listened to this in 2073 or 52 when I'm gone, all you have to do is look up the songs and you'll find them all. But when I play them for you here, I find that it kind of a little messy, and I'm going to take a break with that, and maybe I'll even take a break playing the music forever. But I'm happy to be back. 23rd of October, 2019, and we're muddling through. Okay, the next song on the list is a massive song, a band. I swear, right now, currently, I see their commercials on TV. It's some kind of a boat that's parking. I forget what the product is. It's an ad for something that is like. I don't know, computers, phones, I don't know. It's Looking Glass and Brandy. Brandy was a big song way back, like in the early mid 70s, where it was played a lot. And now you turn on the TV, you're hearing that song again, something like 45 years later. It's like, I don't know what year this came out. Brandy. It came out in 1972. So 47 years later, the song's on TV every day. But I don't know what the story was with the band. Why didn't they get more hits? Nothing wrong with the song. You can hear it in your head, or you can look for it if you'd like. But anyway, that was their time was up pretty fast. I know that Mandy, which was written by I forget his name, Scott English, I think. Uh, he wrote it, and of course, had Barry Manilow had a number one hit with it, so he made a pile on that. He didn't call his song Brandy because Mandy was out already. No, Brandy was out already with Looking Glass songs. He didn't want to confuse it. It was around the same time. So um, I guess he just figured he'd change it to Mandy. And it worked out very well for him since Barry Manilow made him a pile of money. So that's why he didn't call the song Brandy, called it Mandy. Going to the next song, this is another song that's on commercials constantly. Dancing in the Moonlight. Not constantly. I should rephrase that. I have heard it on some commercial. So I think it's a medication, some kind of pill. So anyway, Dancing in the Moonlight, very big part of my history of listening to music at 12 years old, was quite a big song. Catchy, had all the ingredients for a band that was like headed for more. The band was called King Harvest, Dancing in the Moonlight. Go look for it rather than me play you a muddled, mucky version of it by bending my microphone. Just go look for it. It's worth it. Next is a guy. I'm pretty sure he's up. He's nominated for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Mark Bolan is his name. His band was T Rex, but he was the front guy. And there was only one song in the U.S. that got a lot of airplay, which is "Get It On." Again, another big song. The guy had about 8 more hits in England, number one hits. He was like a god out there. He was like a Bowie out there. But in the United States, as I've heard on the radio, people talking about music say, look, the guy's known for Get It On, and maybe one more song. Even Howard Stern sang one of his songs the other day. Anyway, look, the guy died young in a car crash, and he didn't have a long career, but he was successful, and I don't know money-wise how he did. But next, go down the list. A good song, I do remember it. Another guy kind of disappeared. I think he wrote a hit for someone else too. My Maria was the song. Very, very, he does a lot of that in this. B.W. Stevenson. My memory is kind of like foggy on did he write a hit for someone else or not? I think so. But you will be able to figure it out if you really dig in. But for sure, a guy with a nice voice like that and a catchy hit should have had more hits. I think, and he did on the country charts. We're moving down to a famous actress because she was on the Carol Burnett show. Mama's Family was another show. A comedic actress, Vicki Lawrence, number one song. Wow, everybody freaked out. Vicki Lawrence from the Carol Burnett show had as a number one song. Very good song. I often think of it in my head. It runs through my head like stupidly. It sits there and it starts to move around. The night the lights went down in Georgia. And I could tell you that was massive. I'm saying hi to everyone out there in case somebody ever shows up. There's still time. I'm going to be on for a bit. But Vicki Lawrence was mostly a comedic actress. She didn't really spend a lot of time in the recording studio for songs. So she's a one-hit wonder, but let's face it, it wasn't her. It's like saying Jerry Lewis only had one hit. The guy had like 40 movies, TV shows, businesses, comedic tours. And he had one song that was a hit. Well, what do you expect? The guy's not a singer predominantly. But it's the same with, she was a star. I don't think she made movies very popular. She never really, but she did have Mama's Family, which is a kind of a jokey portrayal of Southern family, Next, let's see. Terry Jacks, Seasons in the Sun, 1974. I swear to God, I must have heard this song 50,000 times. No lack of hearing it on the radio. Massive song. All over the world. It was number one. It was like a song that some guy in France wrote, and he adapted the lyrics to English because one of the co-writers, or the writer actually, is a French name. I did look up this in the past, and I saw that this was a French song translated to English. There was also the Jacks family, or something like that. They had a couple of songs where Evil Grows in Me. Whether or not he sang on that or not, it was his wife, something else, Jacks, Susan Jacks. So he might have popped up in another form with the Jacks family. But as Terry Jacks, shockingly, this guy cleaned up with that song. I think he's still alive. Must be close to 80 because this was a long time ago. Next is a funny tie-in with me because David Essex had a big song in 1974 called Rock On. Now, it was really big. You played it a lot. I think the guy must have had a pretty good following in England kind of guy. But the reason why it's a tie-in to me personally is, but in 1986, I was with my then girlfriend. We were walking around a hotel, and who's walking by but Michael Damian. Now, Michael Damian was a huge soap star at the time on Young and the Restless, and he had a massive number one cover of Rock On. I did happily get to talk to him. I think he signed an autograph, and he gave my then girlfriend at the time a kiss. But who can blame her? Michael Damian is a very good-looking guy. So for him to have my girlfriend at the time excited to meet him, not too shocking, and I didn't mind at all. He was made up. He must have been going to some show. There must have been taping some charity event or some kind of performance. Nice guy. I even tweeted him years later and thanked him. And of course, he doesn't remember meeting me. What do you expect? 1986, 2017. He's not going to exactly keep himself excited about the memory of meeting me at the time. Next on the list, First Class. I always thought this was a Beach Boys sound. Their song was Beach Baby. Very catchy, bubblegum song, but it kind of had a Beach Boys feel. I don't remember what number it got to, but I'm pretty sure it was top 10. And I guess sounding like the Beach Boys is not quite the same as being the Beach Boys, because I suspect it was one of these merges of session guys, tossed them into a room, called them First Class, didn't know what would happen. There wasn't an actual band, or maybe there was a band and they kept trying and running around trying to make money off this one hit. Don't know. But we're at to the next guy, and this guy's hit was so big, he must have thought he hit the big time. Wow, what a song. It even got nominated on a radio show I heard recently for the worst act or song of all time. I don't think it's as bad as this radio show said. It's Kung Fu Fighting by Carl Douglas. It has all the elements of a great hit. It's got a guy singing well, a lot of flutes and catchy beats, and it was a theme of kung fu, which was on at the time, a TV show. And Carl Douglas must have, wow, Jesus Christ, I'm gonna have to go buy myself a big house. But hold on to Carl. No more hits came except another song about kung fu that probably made it in the top 50. There was a more kung fu fighting type of song, and God knows what happened to you, Carl Douglas. I'm not going to worry about you if you're still alive. Now, here's another song that's used in commercials. Now, I'm telling you, people, the reason why these songs show up in commercials because people like in their 50s, when they were 12, they heard these songs on the radio constantly, and now they want to, the drug companies especially want to drag those 50 somethings in to their web of sales of these medications because Pilot song Magic is now used for an Otezla commercial, a pill. Oh, Otezla. And they sang, oh, it's magic. So you see, there's the connection. Now, these guys, Pilot, they never had another hit. They recorded it in about an hour away from where I live in Morin Heights, Le Studio, which is burnt down. And there have been attempts to revive the studio, but I think it's gone. But anyway, this song, you can hear it on TV right now. If you watch TV all day, you're going to see a Tesla commercial at some point. And that song uses magic. Now, I hope for these guys' sake that they wrote the song or own the copyright or the publishing so they can make money. Now, the next song, it was a big song, but you don't hear it anymore. It's not like the Pilot, there's sort of a little tiny connection. This guy kind of like slipped out of the mainstream altogether to complete obscurity. Billy Swan and his song was "I Can Help," kind of a catchy little rumba beat going on in there. But Billy Swan, God, no, I think it was a number one hit. But why did he disappear? I have a feeling he did write some other hit for somebody, but go listen to that. It's kind of an upbeat tune. Next, whenever I look at YouTube, every few days they seem to suggest this on the right. On the right they give like songs that they suggest. Well, they're always suggesting this song. It's called "Sky High" by Jigsaw, and that was 1975. And yes, it was all about a love affair going wrong. But again, they did have another minors hit up there. I think it was Love. I forget, Love Higher or something. I don't know what it was. But anyway, Jigsaw just came away, and I think they were British, but no sustainability. Okay, the next one I know quite a bit about. I think Paul Carrack was the lead singer. It was the band Ace, and the song was "How Long." You probably know it. It was pretty big. And it was redone by Rod Stewart. So if the guys in Ace wrote it or owned the publishing, they cashed in a second time. Now, Paul Carrack, I think it was in Squeeze before, and he left, or after, doesn't really make a difference. Yeah, probably after. So he had, and he did have a big song, a top 10 hit without the band. So he's kind of one of these gray area number one hit wonder guys, because Don't Shed a Tear for Me was top 10. So here he is. He's got 2 or 3 hits, but on this thing, Ace itself only had the one hit. How Long? You could definitely listen to that and hopefully enjoy it. I know I have. You know that I'm missing Howard Stern just so I can do this show. That's how much this show means to me. Okay, next. I got a story about this too. See, I got a story about most of these songs because I've met rock acts. I know about them. Nazareth, Love Hurts. Now, I saw them when I was 14, my very first concert before Love Hurts came out. It was This Flight Tonight, which how it didn't become a top 40 hit, no idea. It was a great rock song. It got me at 14 to go to my first concert, for Christ's sake. But then I saw them in 2001. So many, many years later, like 27 years later. And I met the band. I met the singer. I met, a couple other guys, but mostly the singer. And I said to him, in This Flight Tonight, Joni Mitchell song, it sounded too good. Did you use backing tracks for the vocal? And he looked at me like, maybe I shouldn't have asked it. And he looked at me and says, no, we didn't do that. No, because he's Scottish. And I said to myself, well, I guess he's not going to tell me. Not that anybody cares but me, because it sounded like the perfect backing track. It sounded like the perfect vocal. So I said, how are these guys duplicating? Even at 14, I was thinking, how are these guys replicating their backing vocal, their vocals on the chorus? Starlight, Starbright. How did they pull it off? But the guy denied it. So I don't have any other way to figure it out. I have to just take him at his word. Whatever. I don't still doubt it. Anyway, that guy retired. He's an old man. He's sick. Some young punk 35-year-old replaced him. Is Macintosh or whatever his name was. Anyway, so this song was Love Hurts. So I wasn't that thorough. And when I talked to him, I said, who wrote that song for you? Well, I should have known because it was a Everly Brothers song earlier on. And he said, Boudreaux Bryant. Now, Boudreaux Bryant, there was like a songwriter from the 50s. And he said something, I think he might have said, I wish I did. Like, obviously, he would have made another few million if he had written it, but he didn't. So the one hit, it's hard to believe Nazareth only had one hit. I mean, they had about 10 songs that I swear to God, if I wrote down on a paper, I could come up with 10 popular Nazareth songs. I love the band. I saw them the second time in 2001. They did songs that I remembered from the past. So they had a big chunk of songs. But, messing with a son of bitch is not going to be a hit. They say bitch. Although Elton John had a song called Bitch, and it didn't stop him. So that's basically the story of Nazareth. Love Hurts. That's also in commercials, but I think they've actually used Nazareth's version. Next is a band that Pratt and McLean. I mean, I don't really know what went on later on with these guys, but they did the Happy Days theme, 1976. It was the peak of the Happy Days show, super popular. Fonzie. So no surprise that it became a hit. Whatever happened to Pratt, whatever happened to McLean, your guess is as good as mine. Next, we do have a band that I can't believe that they only had one hit. Wild Cherry, Play That Funky Music. Now, why do I remember another song that they had? So I don't know. They claim this is, I'll have to figure it out on my own. But they claim Play That Funky Music was their only hit. But of course, it's a well-known song because Vanilla Ice, the scumbag that he is, he reused the song, the beat, Play That Funky Music, and he didn't clear it like with the writer of the Wild Cherry guy who was in Wild Cherry, and so of course they sued him, as did David Bowie and Freddie Mercury for Under Pressure, using that song for Ice Ice Baby. So it's like, there was something going on with this guy. He figured he could just rip off everybody and deal with it later, or the record company are stupid because they ended up paying for it anyway. You can't lift a fucking song from another band and just put it out as your own and rap to it and expect to get away with it. But he tried twice and he had to pay both times. But Vanilla Ice, I heard he bought out the rights to Under Pressure. Like he's got a songwriting credit on there and he owns the publishing, or he tried to do that. I don't know. There was some court thing went on with that. But anyway, somehow Wild Cherry only had one song. And I don't know. I think there was another song that got a lot of airplay, but maybe it just didn't make the top 40. I'll figure it out one day. Here's the next band on the list. They actually play this song anytime often when a radio show does a story on one-hit wonders and lousy hits and crappy songs. They play this song, Afternoon Delight by the Starland Vocal Man. Well, you know what? I'm much more easygoing when it comes to these kind of things. I don't think you can have a big hit and just be a garbage song. Afternoon Delight was a kind of syrupy, sugary, cute little tune about people having sex in the afternoon. I mean, that was okay. I mean, it's okay, like a bubblegum song is okay. Start and the next song on the list is the one time so far, no, maybe two times, three, that a one hit wonder. I don't know the song. That Dean Friedman. You know what? Maybe I'm going to play just for my curiosity. Let's go to YouTube and see if I can recognize this, because this is really like a conundrum. How do I not know this song that they claim is a one hit wonder? Ariel by Dean Friedman. Let's see if it means anything to me. I don't think you can hear it because I have never worked out the mechanics of that. I can tell you with great certainty that nobody in this town, Montreal, ever played that song. No way. Because I was listening to the radio every day, hours and hours. And for this guy to have some kind of a hit, and I never heard it, it must be that the radio stations totally blew this guy off in where I live. So now that I'm already on YouTube, why don't I see if Wild Cherry had another hit? I can't believe. Oh, you know what? Maybe they didn't, because the only song that comes up is "Play That Funky Music." Play the funky music, and maybe they didn't have another hit. And I'm kind of like, no. Let's see, best songs by Wild Cherry. I don't know. Doesn't seem. I can't play the funky music. That's all I seem to recognize. Hold on. I don't know. Top tracks, Wild Cherry. I'm just curious. How the hell do I not? Well, we know this one. You know what? They're listing all these songs, and I don't recognize any of these guys. Try Piece of My Love. No, I guess they didn't have another hit because they don't see anything on this list. Okay, next. We're going to a massive song, probably the song of the year. Debbie Boone, You Light Up My Life. I once called a radio station. I guess it was 17 because it came out in 1977. I said, "Can you play You Light Up My Life? I think she's so beautiful and I love the song." He says, so the day DJ says, "Oh, does she turn you on?" I said, "Well, I wasn't going there, man. She's beautiful, but I don't, I'm not getting into that type of discussion with you." Because there were request lines back then. You could call up and ask for your greatest request. Anyway, her father was Pat Boone, who was huge. Still see this guy, the father. He's probably in his 80s. He's advertising some stupid shit on their television, like an old insurance company, or who knows. I don't know how he's still alive. Good for him. Her father got all these like black music covers that he used to do. So he it was kind of unfair to him to blame him. But let's say Little Richard had a big hit, but he was he was black. So maybe a lot of stations said, "Oh, I don't want to play Little Richard. He's black, and we don't play black music." So this was like 1958 or 1960. So they threw it to Pat Boone, and he would whiten it up. He'd sing it a little bit more, mellower, and that would be a bigger hit. And of course, Little Richard ended up getting screwed, but then he went to court. And he got a lot of that money back, and now he's an old man in a wheelchair. It's super sad. But Debbie Boone, God damn it, I don't know what happened to her. She must have been in a movie. She did something, but she's been almost wiped off the planet as far as being in show business. Never see the girl in anything, pretty much. And there was also a story that the guy that wrote this song, I forget his name, he was some kind of a womanizer with 16 or 15 and 14-year-old girls, and one of these guys, sleazebag Hollywood types. Let's see, time wise, 25 minutes has gone by. Nobody's chimed in, but I'm still doing my show. I don't care. Let's throw a few more to you. David Dundas, Jeans On. Cute little innocent song about putting your jeans on. I mean, I don't know much more to say about it. It was okay. Caught the attention of a few radio stations. They played it, blah, blah, blah. Next is considered a classic that's played on heavy rock stations for 42 years. Ram Jam song is Black Betty. Oh, Black Betty, blam, blam. Oh, Black. And listen, this must have been racist somehow because you're talking about Black Betty. She's talking about having a child. The damn thing went blind. I mean, I don't know. It doesn't sound like a very kind song to play about a black woman having a blind child. It didn't sound too. At the time, it was a bit surprising that they played it because it was like, you're really like getting into some rough territory there. Anyway, seek it out. You've probably heard it, and I'm going to go to the 3 or 4 more. And next is Alicia Bridges' big disco song. Disco was breaking, 1978. Hard to believe she only had one hit. Maybe it was the gimmicky way she sang, "Oh, I love the nightlife." I liked it. I mean, it was what the hell? I'm not a purist with the rock music like some of these big radio announcers are. Can only be rock and roll. It's got to have lots of guitars, or I don't listen to it. Well, that's Eddie Trunk, by the way. Not that anybody cares, but that's why I stopped listening to his show. Oh, what about this Mozart? Well, yeah, I don't know. I don't really care for Mozart. There's no guitars. That's the kind of guy he is. And that's kind of why I stopped listening to him. Because it's just, I'm not saying he believes that about Mozart. It's just a dramatization of something, just to prove a point. But Alicia Bridges had that song. I seen on YouTube that as an older lady, she still shows up and sings it, Never did much with it. After that, I don't remember her banging out any big hits. Didn't turn into a Donna Summer. Walter Egan, one of these California guys, Magnet and Steel. I think at the time it was kind of a draggy song. Never was one of my favorites. You are the magnet and I am steel. Ooh. Not up there in my top 5 of all time. That's all I'm going to say. I think he used a lot of session musicians and blah, blah different guys that he probably paid $200-300 each to, and had a hit. And goodbye, Walter. Next, Cheryl Lynn, another massive dance song. Got played a hell of a lot, massively amount. Got to Be Real. Good choruses, good beat, good singing, everything. But Cheryl Lynn, I don't know. Did your record company boot you out? Did you just become huge in Belgium? I don't know. Maybe I'll try to find out one day, but didn't have many hits. We're down to the last song because it means a lot to me. Back in 1979, around then, I was super good at predicting if songs would be hits, right? Now, I had a knack for it. I do it with hockey currently, but I'm not doing well lately. But anyway, I was good at hearing a song once and saying this will be a hit or that won't be a hit. I was very good at it. I would predict it on Billboard chart. I swear to God, I heard this song one time, M, pop music, okay? A ridiculous song about God knows what, pop music, but the twangy guitar and the cracked up crazy vocal. I don't know. I just heard something in that song. It was like infectious. I said to myself, they're going to lick this song up like it's gold, the Americans. And I swear to God, I called 3 or 4 or 5 stations before it was even on the charts, or maybe just barely. And I said, there's a song called Pop Music by M. It's going to be a massive song. It's going to be number 1. And I can't remember what they said. Maybe they said, oh, okay. Or maybe they just said, oh, people have been tuning me out for almost 60 years. So that was probably what happened. And sure enough, there was nobody to gloat to because there's no internet in 1979. So I couldn't go and brag about it. But sure enough, I think I called one or two of the stations back. I said, look, here it is, number one, like I told you, blah, 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 blah. Nobody cared. I must have told friends. I thought I was like a genius. And you know what? I don't think I am, but I certainly have a good knowledge of music. And that's why I'm doing the show, Eddie G's Music World, time capsule stuff, Montreal Alouettes football team. Okay. Thank you very much. We're ending Eddie G's Music Show for another week. We are currently going to be going also in the 1970s, and we'll have more for you at another time. And I want to thank you for maybe listening at some point. Thank you.